picked up a couple packs of shoes on the course because CIM is very good about having options like gels and shoes. And then let's see, I also ate a donut. I also drank beer.
All as a pacer.
Yeah.
My name's Adam Reed, and I wanted to be the first to welcome you to The Wall, the podcast dedicated to all things marathon running. Today, to kick off our very first episode, we have an amazing guest. Her name is Steph Dunlap. She is a mom of two. She works a full-time job, and she's the queen of helping others conquer their wall during the marathon. But what do I mean by this? Well, what makes Steph so special is she's known as a sweeper and a pacer for marathons. Just in 2023, she ran 11 full marathons. That's more than double what I did this year, and I thought I was crazy. I can't wait to talk more with her about strategies, leading the back of the pack, being on your feet for 6, 7, 8 hours, and helping that last person reach their goal of hitting the finish line after 26.2 long, tiring miles. Without further ado, here's Steph.
So my name is Stephanie Dunlap. On the socials, I'm known as Run Strong Run, and that name kind of came from crossing the finish line of my very first marathon in 2012. I actually went from non-runner to marathoner in less than a year. I stood on the sidelines of the Lala Marathon in Torreon, Coahuila in March of 2011. And at that point in time, I had said, like, this body doesn't run. I am not a runner, but I was so inspired by all these runners I saw of like different body sizes, different ages, different ethnicities in the high desert of northern Mexico that I was so inspired. I started to say, why not me? And so I went out for my first training run like that next day, made it like one block. And I was like, this is hard. This sucks. But every day I just went like one block further and one block further. And so I crossed that finish line of my first marathon that following year of March 2012, realizing that, wow, I am capable of so much more than I ever thought possible. And I started pacing in 2016 after running about, I think, 8 full marathons at that point. And I have loved pacing so much because I love to inspire those first-time marathoners who are wondering, like, can I do this? They're filled with so much fear, so much worry, so much excitement, right? It's your first marathon. And so I've fallen in love with marathon pacing, and that's kind of now what I say is I'm Steph, I'm Run Strong Run, I'm a marathon pacer, and I'm your number one cheerleader. I'm here to say that you can do it, and I'm here to fill you with encouragement and positivity.
What did it look like when you started training? So did you have a plan going in? You said like, oh, I just started with like a block and then went to 2 blocks and 3. A lot of people usually pick off like a couch to marathon type of plan off the internet. What was your strategy? Did you just fall into, I'm going to do a marathon since you had seen it?
Where I lived in Mexico, there was like a race every single weekend, like a 5K, a 10K, mainly 5Ks and 10Ks. So that fall of 2011, I just started running like every 5K and 10K that would come up.
That's really cool.
Yes.
Congrats on doing one. And now you've tacked on 34 more.
Yeah, I'm at 35. Yes.
I like that you had a slow build into running, starting with 5Ks, then 10Ks. And working your way up. I think a lot of people just assume that we as marathon runners hop into it and immediately start pumping out races and miles, but it's not that way. There's definitely a slow build, and I appreciate that you brought that up.
Yes, I started 2023 with the goal of running 12 full marathons. The most I'd ever run in a year was 6, and that was in 2016. And why 12? Just because I was looking at my calendar, because I love to pace races. And so I was looking at my calendar and I was like, oh, wow, I'm like almost at 12 marathons. Like,
that's awesome. Did you pace all of those, or what did that look like?
Yeah. So out of the 11 full marathons I did in 2023, I paced 9 of them and raced. I use the term race loosely, raced 2 of them.
I feel like as someone that relies on pacers, it's so crucial that you hit those times and are really accurate to get us to the finish line. So what inspired you to start pacing?
I was looking into pacing selfishly, because I ran like 29 races in 2016 or something like that. And as you know, the race registration fee adds up really quickly. I mean, races are getting so expensive, especially marathons. And
Mm.
so I was like, how do I run all the races without paying for them? And I remember I saw someone post on social media about pacing, and I just kind of looked into what this would entail, or how I could do it. And so I first started with beast pacing. The person in charge of that is Vanessa Klein. And I was like, well, I love to talk to people. I love to meet people. I'm like mathematically minded. I love the whole challenge of even paces, or your it's all about number crunching too, because often a race course is often longer than what it is. So like your watch might say like 26 and a half miles instead of 26.2 when you reach the finish line. And so you're kind of then changing your pace as you go, and like running these calculations. And so I quickly fell in love with pacing. I was like, oh, cool. I get to run all the races, meet all the people, talk to all the people, and not have to pay the race registration fees. I'm in.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea to pace and get the free entry too. Plus, I mean, it's a guarantee that you're gonna have people all around you, right?
I have paced some small races to where I am all alone, and that is not fun.
So even like maybe by like the halfway point, you've dropped everybody or they've sped off and it's just you.
So how it works, it could work several different ways. Let's take the Casper Marathon as an example. In Casper, Wyoming. So I mean, it's a sparsely populated area anyways. But yeah, I paced the Casper Marathon, and I started with one runner, and she made it with me like till the halfway point, so 13.1 miles. And she sadly fell behind me. So there was a sweeper behind me. So I had to maintain my pace still, even though there was no one with me, because I came up on some runners then from 13.1 miles to the end, and I would try to like scoop them up with me. Come on, I'm running 90 seconds, walking 90 seconds, stick with me. But no one was really able to stick with me, so it was very lonely. It was on like this
Uh,
bike path. It started downpouring rain at about mile 23, like torrential rain. Like it was almost comical, this marathon. So will I return to the Casper Marathon in 2024? I'm not quite sure, because that's a very different experience as opposed to like the California International Marathon, where I have like 20 plus runners with me for all 26.2 miles.
oh yeah, I can't blame you for that. Those lonely miles are painful. Like that's what we do in training, right? Like on race days when we're supposed to be with all of our people. So we are on like different spectrums in terms of speed, which isn't a bad thing. I feel personally, you guys are so much more heroic and powerful to be able to be on your feet for 6, 7, 8 hours. So I'd love to hear about what it's like to train with the knowledge that you're going to be running like a 6-hour marathon. How many miles do you peak toward during your training? Like what is fueling like? Like I am so unaware of what all of that looks like. So I'd love for you to walk me through like your training, and then on race day, what's the strategy?
Yeah, great question. I mean, Adam, and I really appreciate your perspective too, because I mean, my fastest marathon is 4:28, so I can't imagine running a sub 3 hour marathon, just like you probably can't imagine being out there for 6+ hours. But yeah, my training, it's funny because a lot of people ask me, do I train at my marathon pacing speed? And I don't, because so my marathon pacing speed is about 13:44 per mile. And so I do when I run a 6-hour marathon or pace a 6-hour marathon, we run 90 seconds, walk 90 seconds. I used to, in my long run trainings, do the run walk method, but now I often just go out and run straight. And in training, usually I run somewhere between like 11, 12-minute miles for those long runs. I might still do a run walk. It just kind of depends. And so that's often what people ask me is like, do I train at the pace that I'm doing for pace day, or like marathon pace day? And so the answer is that is no. And then as far as fueling, I think what I always tell people is it's to each person what works best for them. I usually only take about like two chew packs with me during a marathon course, because then whatever's on the course, I'll just pick up and supplement in
Right.
with that. And but this marathon that I ran, the Seattle Marathon, did not have anything out on course. No chews, no gels, no nothing. It was advertised that there was maybe 4 places with gels, and there was nothing. And it's not even that they ran out. No, it never existed on race day.
Oh wow. You are going through
So
it. I mean, to do 35 marathons, you've had some rough ones. I couldn't imagine not having any type of fuel. That is crazy.
yeah, that was pretty bad. But yeah, so as far as my fueling, I'm not the best person. I'm not very prescribed with my fueling. My husband likes to joke with me that I have the stomach of steel. And I know like for marathon, like race day, they say never try anything new. But I remember my first marathon, like about mile 20, I had some of my third grade students out and they were like handing me like cups of Coca-Cola and they were handing me, I don't know, just some random stuff. And I was taking it all in because at that point, like mile 20, I was feeling so done. I was like, I need all the sugar, all the energy, just give it to me so I can reach the finish line. And that first marathon, actually, I crossed that finish line in like 4:35. So that
Wow.
was yeah, I was pretty proud of that time. And like I said, my fastest was 4:28. I haven't shaved off much time from my marathon time. And that's what's kind of nice too about pacing is I don't have to worry about like trying to PR and I just get to go out and have fun.
Yes, that is really fun. You're pacing, I guess, at a rate that's a little bit easier for you. The fueling too, it's just amazing to think about. For me, I take about 9 gels through the course of the marathon. So I was thinking for 6 hours, I would have to have 18 gels, which I don't think that I could ever do. So it's crazy that you just have a couple packs and go with it. It's
Well, yeah. Well, so let's talk about a little more about that fueling because CIM, I again only took with me like 2 packs of chews or something. And I picked up a couple packs of chews on the course because CIM is very good about having options like gels and chews. And then let's see, I also ate a donut. I also drank beer.
all us a pacer.
Yeah.
We interrupt this podcast to bring you no ads because this is a zero budget podcast. But I did want to let you guys know I have been going on long runs, trying to test out new gels. I am in the process of switching from goo, and I think that I've found the perfect fit. Bare Performance Nutrition's Go Gel. It has 110 milligrams of sodium, 24 grams of carbs per packet, and it is apple cinnamon flavored. So you're going to get the consistency of a UCAN. It's really easy to get down. I just did a 20-mile long run on Saturday, and it was fantastic. So I can't say enough about this gel. I encourage you to go try it out. That's awesome. What does it look like for your group? I have actually only been around a pace group for a short period of time. I usually try to like skip ahead and use them as like a imaginary ghost that is chasing me, and I have to beat that time, right? So when you're with these people, are you talking to them? Are they talking back? I guess with a little bit of walking, there's some of that. I'm just curious to know like more about the pacing strategy because you're like the leader of that group. They're banking on you not just for time, but maybe for encouragement.
Yes, absolutely. Again, that kind of varies too about like the people around me, how much they want to talk or how much they want to listen to me talk. Going back, let's talk again more about the California International Marathon since that was my most recent marathon that I paced. I talked a lot and I listened a lot to people's stories and other people around me were talking. And I also have a signature pace sound that I will often do. And people know me based upon this pace sound and just kind of like to liven up the group because sometimes in the back, spectators might have left, bands might have stopped playing, and it can sometimes get a little quiet. I mean, you're out there for 6 hours. That's like almost a full day work.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
when when the group needs more energy, or even I myself need some more energy, I have like the signature pace sound that I do, and it kind of just helps to liven things up and lighten, people's moods. So
What's the sound? You know I'm gonna ask.
It goes something like this.
Oh.
It's funny because when people like stop and go to the bathroom, they're like, Stephanie, make your sound as you pass the porta potty, so I know where you're at. Or Stephanie, make that sound so I know how far behind you are of me, or how far up ahead you are. And so I try to get to know everyone's names in my pace group, like especially there in the starting corrals. What I encourage runners to do if they're going to be using a pacer, like introduce yourself to the pacer, ask them questions, have them, I want to get to know your name, because when we're out there on the course and I can see you're struggling, I'm going to say, Adam, come on, you've got this. Let's go. Adam, I understand you're uncomfortable right now, but you're going to embrace that discomfort, and you're going to keep moving one foot in front of the other, because you're going to reach that marathon finish line and you're going to get that medal around your neck and you're going to celebrate that you're a marathoner. Come on.
Any person that's done a marathon, like one race or many, will just always remember that first of crossing the line and just that battle. I called this podcast The Wall just because that's the oh so familiar thing that we hear as runners, is like, you're going to hit the wall usually at 20, maybe at 21. It could be really early on in the race that you hit the wall. And I think that's the biggest mental battle to doing a marathon, is like breaking through that wall. So I'd love to ask you the question, in your whole running journey, race or outside of that, where did you hit a wall, and what did you do to overcome it mentally?
Oh, Adam, I love that question. As far as my own life, hitting that wall would probably be coming out of that abusive marriage. And actually, right after I left that relationship, I actually went to China to teach English for a year. And I would say that although I was living my dream of teaching and traveling, because that's actually what I do when I'm not pacing, is I work in an elementary school. And that was just such a low point for me, just trying to find and rebuild like who I was. And so what got me forward in that time would probably be my family, knowing that I had people who had my back, who were checking in on me, who loved me through this. And so I think that too is what's important about like the running community, or that's, I think, what's important about me as a marathon pacer, is I get to give back.
I love that answer. I'm really happy that you found running kind of through the course of all of those challenges, like in the outside of your life, and are bringing it into running, just inspiring the community. I think that you're an inspiration, and you stuck out to me like so much. How would you say your journey as a runner went for 2023 in regards to your races?
I kind of feel like 2023, I had a really great year. I mean, running 11 marathons, how could I not say that was a really great year? I really kind of feel like 2023 was like my comeback year after now having two kids, ages of 2 and 5. I'm very grateful for my mom. She's a huge supporter in watching my girls. I mean, my family, my loved ones, they know that running is so important to me. It's what fills my bucket. It's what lights me up. And so they're huge supporters, because without them, none of this would be possible. Again, just I want everyone to know that running is for you. You have a runner's body. Don't wait until you've lost this amount of weight. Don't wait until you are at this pace. Like, if you want to run, run. If you currently walk, like, you are a runner. If you run, you're a runner.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like I said, I think that you guys are insane just to be out there for so long. And yeah, I love the running community, that everybody's got a goal, and like everyone can win at the end of a marathon. We all work just as hard as it's the same distance. Back again with another update. The Alpha Fly 3 by Nike is coming out this week. So if you are a marathoner looking for a new race shoe, this could be the fit. Kelvin Kiptum, who ran the world record marathon, was wearing them. So I figured they're bound to be awesome. I personally run in the Saucony Elite, but I'm really interested to try these out. I think you should too, and let me know what you think. So one thing that I did just want to do that's a little bit more casual, a little more fun, is just like a quick this or that. So I'm just going to fire off a couple questions, and you can answer and give a why of why you feel a certain direction. So I'd love to just do that. Just to start off, are you a morning runner or an evening runner?
Morning runner.
How about your favorite brand of running shoes?
I'm going to have to go Brooks Running. I've actually been part of the Brooks Running Run Happy team for the last 2 years, and I am a part of the team for 2024 as well. So going on year 3 with Brooks Running. So super excited.
Yeah, Brooks is awesome, especially I think for women. They make amazing running shoes. Everybody's always got them on. Mm-hmm. What is your go-to running gel?
So again, I'm not super prescribed with my fueling. So it could be Honey Stinger chews. I've used the gels in the past too. It could be the goo chews. So Cliff Shot blocks. I'm not too picky.
Donuts, anything that you pass.
Exactly. Beer, IPA. Man, the IPA at like mile 19 of CIM was amazing.
I'll have to try that next time I have a fun marathon. So just 2 more questions. What is one thing that you learned about yourself because you became a runner?
Love that question. One thing I've learned about myself since taking up running is that I'm capable of so much more than what I ever thought possible.
I like that. I agree with that. And to follow that, what advice do you have for someone who wants to start running?
Just do it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Go to your local run specialty store and get fitted for proper shoes, because every person's needs are different. And so they're going to be able to look at you walk, look at you run, talk to you about what your goals are, and get you fitted for the proper shoe. So shoe is very, very important. If you're a female, also a sports bra is really important, but don't overthink it beyond that. Just go out and do it.
I love that. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, especially with the new year hitting. I think it's about the time that a lot of new runners should be hitting the. Thank you, Steph, so much for coming on the podcast. And thank you, everyone who has listened to this far. I very much appreciate it and hope that you learned a lot from her. I think what we can all take from this is that every runner is important. We are all doing the same distance. And we have amazing people in the community like Steph who are there to help you through it. As a 6-hour pacer and leading the back of the pack, she is what we want all of our marathon journeys to look like. If you are someone that's running that 13-minute mile, I encourage you to consider a marathon or a half marathon or a 10K. Just something to get started. It all starts with going from step 1 to mile 26. You can do it. You are beyond capable of conquering your own wall. And I thank you guys so much, and Happy New Year.